Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. My name is Reuben, joined here today with Aaron, and we are back to talk House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 5, Unbowed and Unbent. And before we get into today's episode, I want to let you guys know that you can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, check us out on social medias at Nerd Soup, at Beau Soup, at Nerd Soup Monkey, and our Patreon page where we have more Nerd Soup. Sometimes we have little previews of videos we're going to be dropping on the main channel. And House of the Dragon Season 3. Did the title throw you off when you saw it?
Yeah, I got flashbacks to the Sand Snakes.
Got Sand Snake PTSD.
It's the worst kind, really. But at least this episode was better. I mean, if you're going to rename an episode, well, I guess it's a little different, but essentially rename an old episode of Game of Thrones, which is highly considered the worst episode of Game of Thrones, I feel like you got to come with a banger.
Yeah, the season opener should have been Unbowed, Unbent, even though it made absolutely no sense, but it's a banger. It's like when people purposely say something so that the Google search doesn't come up embarrassing. They were more focused on the Google search, but now it's just going to be like, there are 2 episodes we don't love. I mean, I like this episode. I thought it was good, but it seems like some people are a bit frustrated by the pacing here. See, in Season 2, I felt like we got too many of episodes like this, and they just weren't as good. You know, focusing on the relationship between Orman and Daeron, I feel like that's been a revelation so far this season. I like the way that they've positioned Orman as the villain, and now him trying to basically mold a king in his own liking. It's like he's playing Make Your Own King. And I'm interested to get your thoughts on Orman because you weren't on the episode 4 review, but we got more insight into the relationship between him and Daeron, and now building on that in episode 5.
Yeah, I mean, when Orman first showed up, he looked like a guy, show respect when you're in Orman's presence, Make sure your hair is slicked back, your shirt's tucked in. Oh, he's a man that commands respect. Now he's just like a little fucking weirdo,
huh? Yeah, he's kind of creepy. He's got these creepy nun vibes to him.
Yeah, he's very
Catholic school teacher.
Like you said, he kind of, the way he looks at himself as this morally righteous and honorable man, and he's trying to instill what it is to be a high tower man. He's like someone who went to Harvard, He's like the Winklevosses in Social Network. Oh, you got to be a Harvard man doesn't do this, and it's like a Hightower is fair but stern, and he just doesn't practice what he preaches, and he's trying to instill what it is in his mind to be a Hightower on Daeron. And this whole time, I'm just waiting for Daeron to be like, "You see that face on that little gold coin you made? That's my face. I'm the king. You're making me king, not you. Me." And he has these psychotic tendencies, which are very fun to watch. When he has that little freak out when he gets the news, or even in last episode when he, teaches Daeron to show mercy, but then he, by the end of the episode, completely rejects that notion and has him kill an innocent man. And he kind of takes pleasure in it. And even him having the hissy fit over the chess, well, I forget what they call it in Westeros. It's a big word. I never learned how to read it. But how he just does what a toddler would do when they lose that fucking operation and just knock all the pieces off.
Yeah, that was funny. It's like the first time you beat your dad in one-on-one and he just starts fouling the shit out of you when you're approaching 11. It's like, oh, hell no. But then he tells him, he teaches him that lesson, never apologize for victory. And I think that's kind of the main theme that they're grappling with, those two. And it also relates to Daemon, because we see at the end of the episode that it's Orman who's been sowing the chaos when it comes to the city watchmen, that he was paying people to have them killed. And then you see all of them dead there at the end, the main commanders along with Luther. So he's trying to instill that lesson. At first he's angry, he's upset because he's still, he's a very arrogant character. Of course, that's obvious, but he's like the parent who's vicariously living through his son. He sees so much of himself in Daeron, and I think there's also an element of him being intimidated by him because he is a Targaryen, because he has this immense power. It's that relationship is very layered, because it's almost like he respects Viserys, but not Daemon, not the children of Alicent. So it's very layered there. But yeah, I like that point that Daeron should, flip the table on him. Like, hey, you're calling me king. But we see it all the time in Westeros. And in real history too. It's the parent who wants to prop up their child because they essentially get to rule.
Yeah, it was cool throughout this episode how we kind of seen with Aemond and Aegon, especially Larys, just fucking laying a hammer on him and just insulting his very being and just showing that difference between those two brothers and Daeron, who just seems like a regular, nice, respectful boy, you know, who might actually be a good king, but also at the same time being manipulated and kind of made to be in Orman's image. You kind of reject that because even though he is on the side of the Greens, and if you're rooting for Rhaenyra, you don't want him to have a legitimate claim and you want him to be dealt with, but you feel bad for him because he is the only somewhat normal son from Viserys, and he is in his own awful situation having to be subservient to Ormond.
Yeah, and they've also really built him up as a threat because, as you mentioned, with Aemon, everything he's going through at Harrenhal, and Aegon, it feels like he's on his last legs. That Daeron feels like the biggest threat. He has Orman, he's got the dragon, he's got the proper temperament to rule as well. So far, out of all the candidates we've seen, it's between him and Rhaenyra. I'm like, yeah, the trains are going to be running on time if King Daeron's in charge. And with Orman, yeah, he sees this opportunity because Aegon is reportedly dead, killed by his brother. Nobody knows where Aemon is. Aemon was supposed to meet them in Tubbleton. Now, apparently, he's not coming. So it's an opportunity, and they're going to take it. Yeah, that scene between Aegon and Larys, especially the way it begins where Aegon is doing the typical, mom never loved me. And Aemon had all the advantages, like he could speak High Valyrian fluently. Like they gave him that advantage. And then when he tried to speak Valyrian and mock him, he still fucked it up.
Mom gave him the Duolingo subscription. Super. I mean, I got the free version.
Right.
Well, they kind of both whine about each other and how they think they were mom's favorite. It's like, yeah, maybe you both just kind of suck. You know, you ever think of that? Ever look inward?
Yeah, that's what Larys was there for.
Yeah, just laying it down heavy.
You're one to talk. You say when you're like being talked down to by a person like Larys, that's how you know you're an absolute scumbag. But I imagine that was very satisfying because Aegon was such a little prick from the moment we met him. And there has been sympathy for that character. I mean, how can you not be sympathetic based on everything he's gone through? But the reality is he did have every advantage, and he pissed it away.
Yeah, watching these last few episodes, it makes me, I even said it last season, it makes me wish more they didn't add or like create the fact that Aegon was a rapist just for the show, because I believe in the book it just never happened. So like it just adds a different layer of scumminess to him, where if he was just this kind of, you know, born with a silver spoon, I don't care, didn't want to be king type attitude, you can kind of give him more leeway, which the show doesn't really afford him from some of the decisions that they've made him do in the past. And I feel like it would be an opportunity to sympathize more with him and have him in this like predicament that he never even really wanted to be. He never really wanted to be, and he never really wanted to be king. And I think it just makes it a different character, especially in the whole, while everything else is going around him, and the whole structure of the story around the Civil War, where he's just kind of a casualty of everything else that happens around him. Where in the show, I feel like you can point to everything as being deserved.
Yeah. It's when you commit a crime like that, nobody's going to feel like anything that happens to you that's bad is undeserved. And it was funny when Tylan pops up and they immediately start arguing over what they're going to do, because he's like, oh, let's bring him back to Casterly Rock and we'll raise him back up with an army. And Larys is like, oh, wouldn't you like that? The seat of power being Casterly Rock. So at first it feels like here's a lifeline for us. And then immediately they get into the politicking. And then you have the guy who was in charge of the refugee camp overhears it. And even in that moment, I was like, yeah, fuck that guy.
No, yeah, that guy sucks too. Yeah, I'm glad he died. He was just annoying.
No, I think that it's because Aegon does very much, you know, they're setting him up for this idea of when the time is right, will basically bring you back from the dead. It's going to be your resurrection. and you'll be welcomed as a hero, especially if the realm is in such a dire state. He can be that person that people look towards for stability, which is kind of ridiculous to say about Aegon. But that's what they're building up towards, and you just have to wonder if it's a little bit too late for something like this, or is it too much of a miracle that Larys is trying to pull off? Tywin would be the easy option, right? But Larys, once again, it's similar to Orman. This is my pet project.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Yeah, and then no, go ahead if you want to make
No, I was just going to say it was like a jump scare when he came up. I was like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing here?
Whoa, Jason? Ty? Mr. Lannister. Nice to see you again.
It would have been funny if it was like he just had like his head in his hand. He just survived the beheading.
Right. Yeah, he's just walking around headless. Oh, dude, what if, like, the stuff between Kristen and Gwen has been hysterical, but this episode, them using the guerrilla tactics, and it's working at first, but then him deciding we're going to stop the Tully army. If I have to die doing it, we're going to stop that army. And then when they get to the bridge, after going so far and just chugging through the fucking mud, everybody's passing out, they're exhausted, they look miserable, and then it's all for nothing. And Gwen looks at him like, why did I just offer to make him my best friend?
I feel bad for Gwen. I think he loves him.
I think so too. Yeah, the way he looks at him.
Yeah, it's just...
It could be also Gwen's just a victim of being a really good guy in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
And now he's hitched his wagon to somebody with a death wish.
Yeah, when they get to the bridge, he's like, yeah, we'll swim. Like, what? What do you mean? Oh, we'll just swim across. He's another one.
Well, especially after last episode when he declares his ambitions, I'm going to die on the battlefield. And then the reality of that is so miserable and not glorious whatsoever. I mean, he didn't die, but it's the potential that he could have died chasing an army and then, like passing out from starvation or something. It's not quite as glorious as he was making it out to be.
Yeah. I mean, he's another character that it's hard to feel sympathetic for, but you kind of do just like how depressed he's been for like the past 2 seasons. You kind of just like, I want to grant him the sweet release of death,
Yeah, get him a one-way flight to Sweden.
Who's that character?
One of those Scandinavians.
Was it in Game of Thrones who we always used to make fun of, who just wanted to die so bad?
Was it Game of Thrones? I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about? Maybe it was Theon, but I feel like it was somebody else who just all they wanted was to die and no one would let him.
There's a character like that in Vikings. He's like a warrior and he's mad old and he wants to die on the battlefield, but he's just too nice.
Just let him die, Gwen. You go to Tumbleton. You go home.
Yeah, Gwen's like, I've heard one too many of your speeches.
Nah, I thought that speech was ass. I'm not following him. I'm going home.
Yeah, no, Gwen dipped, yeah.
Daemon, he gave a good speech. He made those boys work for free and die. He got him so hyped up. No check, and you're gonna fucking be gutted like a pig in a Last Supperian setting.
Bro, he was talking like LeBron when he went to Miami. He was like, not 4 kingdoms, not 5 kingdoms, 8, 9, 10. Coming back with gold and silks, and you're all going to be paid double.
You know who's going to be the first one to get paid off of that? That's right. Kind of reminded me of the whole, how the Unsullied were being done in Marine.
Right, yeah.
Even up to like the graffiti on the wall. It's kind of the same tactics that were used. And
well, it's also, it was a mistake by Rhaenyra to give them those commands. Massaria says it. Why were you guys going after all these petty thieves and petty criminals? You took a chaotic situation and made it worse. There's so much instability in King's Landing, and now you have these meatheads who haven't been paid in weeks just cracking skulls and accusing everybody of everything. And you almost forget about that attachment that Daemon does have. One of the best speeches of the show is when he's talking to the City Watch, I think in episode 1 or 2. And they do the same thing. They're like...
He loves the gold cloaks.
So he is genuinely concerned about their safety. It's not even a tough guy. I mean, part of it probably is a macho thing, but it's also like, these are my men. I know these guys personally. So that it does mean something to him.
Defund the police? Nah, they need to be getting raises.
Yeah, that's they're saying Rhaenyra's soft. Well, actually, she's soft and too hard on crime. She's just all over the place.
Is she a good queen?
No.
Yeah. I was trying to give her some leeway. You know, she just got the job.
Yeah, I mean, dude, she came into she's not Durant going to the Golden State Warriors, you know?
No, she got into a terrible situation.
Like,
Yeah.
you show up, all the money's gone. There's a giant fucking nuclear weapon out there that you can't find. Everybody's scheming against you. And that was a great scene, too, when they're praying together and she's talking about that she can sense that there are forces working against her, that she can't identify who it is or what they're doing, but she can sense that it's coming. And Damon's like, you're just being an emotional woman. I'm going to go be an emotional man. That's why we work so well together.
Yeah, I mean, even when like she gets like too hyper focused sometimes, and obviously she's been through a lot, but when the council's going on about all these other problems, she's just so locked in on Vhagar and Aemon, where she's kind of not giving the attention to the problem within.
Right, yeah, she's more focused on the war, but it's also like your city is falling apart. There are so many logistical things that they weren't preparing for. And it goes back to the Rhaenyra triumphant. As awesome as that moment was, reality has hit them like a brick wall. Just basic things. People can't find food. Poverty-stricken all across King's Landing. And that's always been an issue. You know, they've always talked about that you need to keep the common folk fed. Because if you don't, they're going to, you know, it just makes matters so much more worse when you have to deal with riots and chaos in the streets. So it's definitely a lot on her plate right now.
It's like when people get their dream job out of college and they realize waking up at 6 a.m. and getting home at 6 p.m. is fucking terrible. And they hate their lives. Yeah, there's just too much to handle at once, and she's not focusing on the wrong things, but only focusing on one thing. And a lot of problems are slipping through the cracks, and they're starting to amplify, especially within King's Landing.
I'll tell you what, though, it's the most we've been able to discuss the character of Rhaenyra without complaining about agency or that she's got nothing to do or that she's spending too much time in one place. I mean, she's mostly just been in the Red Keep, but it feels like there's a lot there dramatically for that character this season, which has been a nice change of pace.
Yeah, which is the complete opposite from Alicent, because I feel like they're struggling to figure out what to do with her these past few episodes.
Yeah, they're using her as almost like an advisor for Rhaenyra. But yeah, the Helaena pregnancy, a lot of people were confused by that, and that ends up being Alicent versus Mysaria in this episode, them trying to escape, and Mysaria basically telling them, hey, I know everything you're doing, so.
There's 3 nanny cams in this room alone.
I know. You ever heard of Ring, Alicent? All over the 7 Kingdoms. Very creepy, very invasive.
Yeah, so I feel like she really hasn't had much to do, and they're kind of struggling to make her scenes interesting this season after Rhaenyra took King's Landing.
Yeah, I think that's definitely valid. I mean, I have enjoyed most of the scenes that they have together, but once again, it's just Olivia Cook, Alicent Hightower. People expect her to be on screen. So how are you going to make that interesting? And yeah, I don't, like I said, it's worked for me, but I can understand why it feels like she's being shoehorned in when the narrative doesn't call for it. And I think even something like Helena's pregnancy is also just trying to give them a bit more momentum in their own story, because now she's a target. You know, the tension between the two of them, to where Helaena, for probably the first time in her life, is experiencing the two-faced nature of Alicent. For the most part, it feels like she has been a good mother to Helaena, but her lying about, oh, we're going to bring your daughter with us, or even if we run away and maybe we can send for her. And Helena's like, that's total bullshit. You know, you can't lie to me. I could see into the future.
Yeah, especially after you're confronted with the fact that you abandoned your boy, Daeron, right. Or like you have no relationship with him. So you know how that works. And to subject your daughter to that, who lost her son tragically, it's just not too cool. I wouldn't be too thrilled if I was Helaena.
Well, Helaena is, and I mean this complimentary, she's just more simple when it comes to, I'm never going to abandon my child. That's unthinkable to me. Whereas Alicent approaches everything with the logic and rationale of somebody who's been playing the game of the court her entire life because she has. She does love her children. She's almost like a softer version of Cersei, but when her back is up against the wall, she's going to make those hard choices without even thinking about it. She walks up to Helaena, gives her this entire game plan. Oh, tonight we're going to uproot everything that you've ever known and just sail into the unknown. Cross our fingers and hopefully we get lucky. Like even Alicent trying to force her to drink the tea, it's a reminder of how corrupted she's become, where she believes becoming pregnant outside of marriage is such a shameful thing to do. She says, oh, it's delivered me from shame. It's delivered Rhaenyra as well. And in Helena's mind, it doesn't even make sense to her. This idea of I should be ashamed of something natural. And I'm not going to play the war games when it comes to my unborn child. And it's so fucked up to watch her, beg her to take this tea and eventually start yelling at her and getting in her face. It's almost heartbreaking. And I think sometimes we do forget that, how ruthless Alicent could be, because they have softened her a bit.
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard when someone was the co-lead up until this point and they're kind of put on the back burners. I just wish they had something a little bit more interesting to do with her.
Yeah, when Mysaria kept showing up, it made me laugh, especially the second time. She's like, all the fuss for them to get out of there, and Mysaria's just on the stairs, like, hey. But then she does make a deal with her, and she even tells her, like, I heard tales of the White Worm. You've lost your edge. Now you're just over here kissing Rhaenyra's ass, and you don't realize that Rhaenyra and Daemon are two sides of the same coin, I think she says. They always have been. And it's a reality check for Mysaria, that she has Rhaenyra's ear for now, but maybe in the long run, she could be discarded and tossed aside because she's not a Targaryen. She doesn't have that same connection, that lifelong connection that Rhaenyra and Daemon have.
You know who I've enjoyed? Not Josh Gad.
Oh, Manderly? Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He was awesome this episode when he's breaking down all the gossip. Like, oh, that's the White Worm. She's an asshole.
Yeah.
And Mysaria is looking at him like, who is this little tubby man? Who's this little tubby man with so much swagger?
Her small council might be the worst small council ever.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad one, dude.
It's not. It is. Who do you turn to for advice? And I have Lady Frey. What the fuck is she doing on the council?
Complaining about Rhaenyra just giving people Harrenhal. That was what you were complaining about a few weeks ago. Everyone's just always trading Harrenhal.
Everybody
He's
wants
like, hey, what the hell?
Harrenhal. Everybody complains about Harrenhal. Harrenhal sucks. Look at Aemond. Actually, he might be having a good time, that weird little guy, but... Oh,
he's loving that shit, dude. He found himself a new freaky mommy. I forgot he had the whole mommy fetish thing going on.
It's like, are you my new mommy?
Can you feed me like a baby bird?
We're just going to Harrenhal. It's like, is Aemond here? No. Okay. Is Aemond here? No. I don't believe you. It's kind of cool to see him. I know Aemond has his fans out there, so that was a cool moment for him to save the day.
Yeah, I like how they accounted for the fact that he's injured, that he's still recovering. So even though he's able to beat them, it takes a lot out of him. He's just completely exhausted after the confrontation. But it ends up being a good fight. Like I said, they account for the fact that he is going to be a bit sluggish, more sloppy in his technique, but he's still so much better than these guys. It's just the clear difference between someone who's been trained to fight his entire life and just some random nobodies. But you said Aemon has his fans out there, dude. Count me as one of them. Aemon and Aegon are my two favorite characters of the show. Because I'm more interested, it's fun to go Team Black, Team Green, but the complicated characters, the anti-villains, if you want to call Aemon and Aegon that, have always been the characters I'm drawn to in this universe especially. Because that's always the characters George has the most fun with.
Definitely the most interesting. And I think especially since they've kind of tempered Alicent a little bit, I think she had the potential to be, I still enjoy her character, but like you said, a tamer Cersei, but she still has that, that killer instinct or that me above everybody else at the end of the day, where she kind of lost that when going back to Rhaenyra. And I think, after that, the kind of more interesting characters have been the ones that are not even slightly evil, but the Aemons, the Daemons. Rhaenyra has been, but I feel like it's up and down with Rhaenyra as far as I don't know. It's like the Rhaenyra I wanted was that face after Luke died, and she stares and she has all that emotion on her face. And then kind of, even though I did enjoy the first 3 episodes, but to kind of see that blind trust in Alicent. And, sometimes I just want people to be say, fuck it. I will burn the fucking hole. I will be Daenerys. I will burn King's Landing down.
Yeah, I'm in a big hole right now, but I'm going to dig myself out of it. And I'm going to go down confidently. I made that point in the last review that I wish she would wear the crown more confidently at times. Even though shit is falling apart every direction you look. But sometimes you need to wear that brave face, because when people see that you're unsure of yourself, everybody else is going to, the knives come out. And I guess we're seeing that with all the siblings here. Because Aemon is now crying over Vhagar, that Vhagar's left him and he's nothing without the dragon. And I think that also relates to the title and the conversation about Dorne and how they were able to hold out and they still haven't submitted to the crown. Just because you have this power, you have this strength, you can overcome that by being witty, by being clever, by playing all your cards in a way that catches your enemy by surprise, or simply by hunkering down and being patient and waiting for that opportune moment to strike. Yeah. So it's all these characters are being tested. Aegon, your dragon's lying dead. People are taking pictures with it and shit. Aemon, your dragon's, gone off on vacation. So it's like, what are you without that?
Yeah, man, Dorne had such a not betting to Aegon, then you had fucking Oberyn, and he just lost all its aura.
Oh, yeah, the show killed them. The books. And apparently we're getting an announcement in August.
No, don't even.
No, it's not like an announcement that it's finished, but probably another, I have 3 more years to go.
Here's another Arianne chapter.
Right.
What else did we have? Oh, we had Adam and Baela.
Yeah, that was a season 2 scene for me. Where I like Adam, I like Baela, and when she talks about how you were basically, Rhaenyra views you as somebody who is sent by the gods to protect her, because Sea Smoke chose him out of nowhere. He wasn't volunteering to be a dragon seed. It was like a miracle. And of course, her feeling guilty over what happened with Jace, talking about how she felt she was going to be a great hero, and so many characters in this universe are burned by that idea of chasing glory. Yeah, I mean, their relationship, pairing them together has been, so far we haven't gotten much out of it, but it's a fine scene.
Yeah, I mean, you feel for Baela. I mean, losing her betrothed and having Rhaenyra just basically ignore her existence. It's something probably Adam can relate to with his own father up until recently. So, yeah, just keep looking for Vhagar. That's all Rhaenyra seems to be focused on right now.
It would be funny if Adam was like, no, yeah, she probably hates you. You definitely need to find Vhagar. That's your only chance of getting back in her good graces. I'm set for life.
Oh, you're set for life? What's your last name again?
All right. That's a low blow.
Yeah, because last time I checked, mine's still Targaryen. Yours is of Hull. Is it middle name of? Last name Hull? It's not Velaryon, I'll tell you that much. Joffrey's probably pissed, huh?
Oh, that was sad.
Well, there's a lot of regret there too, especially what happened with Jason Luke, where, this is her last son from Harlan, so... Yeah,
it's the last strong boy.
Yeah. I mean, not for nothing, if you kind of want to get rid of that whole thing, simple solution. Still have a couple from Daemon, so... But yeah, it is sad.
She sends blood and cheese after.
Todd, I got one more job for your uncle. But yeah, I think it's because he is, the true full brothers of Jace and Lucerys, having her last boy there. I think it's hard for her to kind of confront him. I think she's so scared that something like that's going to happen again that maybe she's being distant on purpose.
Yeah, it's very much like, let me keep my distance because I'll be able to protect you. With Lucerys and Jace, She sent them out into the world confident that they would be able to handle it, and she lost them. So yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head there, that that's why it's so sad for that character, because you would think that's who you really lean on. You've lost something, but what do you still have? And she's more concerned about losing Joffrey than being able to hug him, to kiss him, to be his mom. It just hurt.
I think Orman's gonna die. Like, I don't know, because they made note of his sense of smell. I think they're gonna do just put a bunch of poop in Tumbleton. It's like let off a couple of stink bombs.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to what did he do to himself? Or he was just born with such a sensitivity to smells. It's kind of like a parasite type of commentary. If he does die, if he ends up dying in the streets, surrounded by the people that he, couldn't even stand to be near, and he just has to take that all in his dying moments.
I want him to find a clue. Like, what's that? Hold on, this way. Trying to sneak a fart in his presence. It's a death sentence. But he's probably so snobby when he drinks wine or eats a meal. Is that citrus? Yes. Notes of cinnamon?
You know that motherfucker's sending back bottles. I could see him sending back 2.
Dare someone try to leave a pie on a windowsill when he's around.
It'd be like being born in the Roman Empire and you have a sensitivity to hearing, and it's just Italians everywhere.
Oh! That's why the Romans could never pull off a Trojan horse. That's what they should do for Tumbleton. It's a Trojan horse full of dookie.
I really thought we were going to get the Winter Wolves confrontation with Kristen Cole after that scene with Oscar Tully. When Roderick Dustin's like, just let us hunt him. I was like, And when they set up that one trap, I felt so bad for the horse. Poor horse. He thinks they're just out for a stroll, and the next minute he's fucking dead. But that's the way that they're setting it up. Some fun rivalries that they're setting up. It's not an episode you're going to say, wow, this is one of the best episodes of television ever. But I thought it's developing these characters. It's developing the narrative. And I think there's going to be some good payoff. I hope that there's good payoff. It doesn't necessarily have to be action, but let's, I'm excited to see where these characters end this season.
Yeah. I'm speechless.
Yeah, so we don't have a title for episode 6, but I'm sure there's probably a trailer out there. I usually try to avoid those. But yeah, Unbowed, Unbent, solid episode. Not sure what it got on IMDb, but I'll probably look that up after the episode. We'll be back next week to talk Hot D. It was nice talking Hot D with Cam, but, gotta give the folks what they want.
That's me?
Well, I was thinking like us as a duo, but yeah, sure, whatever.